In today's video, we will be ranking the NFC divisions by their positions, breaking down each of the divisions and ranking their quarterbacks 1 through 4, receiver groups 1 through 4, etc., etc. You get the point. Before we get into this video, though, let me remind you to check out w.gg. Use code Shredder for 10% off anything on their website. Anything, you get 10% off of it using my code Shredder or clicking the link in the description, and we'll get right into this video. So here we will start in the NFC North. So what I'm going to do is go through, obviously we know the position groups for the different things. So first off, quarterback, what we're going to start with. Lions is obviously Jared Goff, who just got a massive extension. Caleb Williams, who just got drafted. We're going to go J.J. McCarthy because, yeah, maybe Sam Darnold might start week 1, but J.J. McCarthy's the future there. Come on now. And then Jordan Love. First off, it's definitely Jared Goff. He's done it longer. He's been proven. I would consider Jordan Love a lot closer to Caleb Williams than I would Jared Goff, though he is still a good chunk ahead because he's only played 1 year. And yeah, he had a good year, except he only had a really good half of a year. The other half was pretty shaky, but still, I think Jordan Love will be very good, but we just have to see it from him again. Then Caleb Williams, then J.J. McCarthy. I don't think this division is debatable at all. I think this is very firm in what it is. Now, the running back groups is going to get interesting because the Lions have Montgomery and Gibbs. And really, I'm only going to count the starters. However, for them, those guys are both starters. They both play a lot. So, some teams might have one, some teams might have two. DeAndre Swift is now in Chicago. The Packers have Josh Jacobs now. And they have Aaron Jones in Minnesota now. So, we're talking about wow. This is tough already. I'm going to go, I think Josh Jacobs is a little overrated. I really like the dynamicism that the Lions have. I just think the 1-2 combo, it really does trump everything else. It really does. I might be unfair of an advantage, but okay, go get 2 running backs. Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota, go get 2. I probably will go Josh Jacobs next and then Aaron Jones. I think they're very close. I'm talking we're splitting hairs. And then DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift fine, but he's just not on the level that those guys are. O-line groups. The Lions are probably going to run away with this one. They've gotten 3 for 3 so far. They're having a good O-line, definitely. They have one of the best tackles in the league, one of the best centers in the league. The Bears, their O-line is underrated, that's for sure. But really, the Vikings is too. Vikings have Vikings. What did I just say? They have Darisaw. They have Brian O'Neill, 2 really good tackles. Their guards in their center, Garrett Bradbury, Brandel, and Ed Ingram. They're fine. They're not great. Does Chicago beat that out, though? Let's just see. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. Braxton Jones is fine. Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton, Nate Davis, John Wright. They don't beat that out, but they're a close 3. And then we go to, not Minnesota. We've already done them. Excuse me. Green Bay. Green Bay is definitely firmly in last place in this topic. Wide receiver rooms. So, this is tough. It's between the Bears and the Vikings here because on one hand, you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. That's really good. The other hand, you have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. I'm a really big fan of Jordan Addison, and I'm a really big fan of all these guys. They're all really, really good. But I think I'm going to go with the Bears only because they have literally more numbers. Jordan Addison and Keenan Allen. Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen. Well, Justin Jefferson wins that one by a decent margin. Then DJ Moore versus Jordan Addison. Well, DJ Moore wins that one by a decent margin. Then Rome Odunze versus... Who do they even have anymore? The Vikings? I don't even know who their third guy is anymore. It's not Osborne. Brandon Powell. Yeah, definitely Chicago over that. Then Vikings. They're very good. Don't get me wrong. Then we'll go with probably Detroit because they have Amon-Ra, and then Green Bay. Detroit, their receiver room isn't that great, and really it's something that is shocking that it still is kind of as bad as it is. It could be worse. It's not bad, but it's just not as good as you'd think for how good they are passing the football. Jamison Williams, Khalif Raymond, Donovan Peoples-Jones, not great. Tight ends. This is a really good tight end division. So you have the 2 rookies from last year, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. You have TJ Hawkinson, who's going to be number 1 in my opinion. Cole Kmet, really solid, is going to be 2. Then a very, very close from Cole Kmet to Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta's played 1 year. Let's let him develop some. And then Green Bay, they get stuck in last place because of just how it happens. It's just what it is. The cornerback and safety groups, just the whole secondary in general, the Lions have really come a long way. They're not that bad anymore. They were really rough last year. But really, the Bears probably win this one. Then it's probably the Lions. Then it's between Packers and Vikings, who are we looking at here? Packers and Vikings. We got Caleb Evans, Byron Murphy, Cam Bynum, and Harrison Smith. And then we've got the Packers have, who do they have? Jair Alexander, Javon Bullard, Xavier McKinney, Eric Stokes. I'm probably going to go with Minnesota just barely. They just barely eke them out of that one. Crazy. We've had the Packers in last place and all these different changes in here. That's insane. Either way, D-line. So, Packers might win this one, man. I know the Vikings had a big loss this year, obviously, with losing, what's his name, Danielle Hunter. Packers have Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and then some depth behind that that's really solid. That's definitely better than the Bears. We'll say that much. Then the Lions, I would say probably. And it's, yeah. I mean, the Lions, they did bring in DJ Reader, which is a really big ad, but Green Bay's definitely one. I'm going to go there too. So between Minnesota and Chicago now, Jerry Tillery, Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Millard, Jonathan Grenard versus Montez Sweat, and that's about it. So, yeah, we're going to go with that. I like Montez Sweat fine, but he's not a top-tier edge rusher. Neither is any of the guys that the Vikings have, but they also have Harrison Phillips on the inside, and that's a big win. Linebackers, the Bears do have really good linebackers. We'll give them that one. Packers are close on in that one, I think, after that. A lot of decent linebackers in this group. They're all really solid groups. I'm going to go Packers, Lions, Vikings, I think. I think I like that one the best. And then for coach, so we've got Kevin O'Connell, we've got Matt LaFleur, we've got Dan Campbell, we've got Matt Eberflus. So personally, I think Dan Campbell's a really good coach. I don't care about the fourth downs and stuff. Catch the ball, and then we wouldn't be talking about it. The receiver just got to catch the ball that's wide open. Then I'm gonna go Kevin O'Connell, then Matt LaFleur. No, I'm gonna switch those two around, and then the Bears coach, Matt Eberflus. Eberflus is fine. I think he's replaceable, but he's not like a guy you're like just running to the stand to replace. But either way, that is our NFC North division. Next division, the NFC East. We'll go with quarterbacks first. So, Daniel Jones. We've got Jalen Hurts. We've got Dak Prescott. We've got Jaden Daniels. So, to this point, personally, I don't think Dak Prescott's very good. I think Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in this division. Dak Prescott is a sufficient starter, and that's about it. That's about it. Which both these guys are pretty good. You'd take them both on to start on most teams, but that's it. Then, let's see. Oof, this is tough. Because Jaden Daniels hasn't played. Daniel Jones has, but Daniel Jones just ain't great. I'm going to have to take Daniel Jones first. You just have to prove it, basically. That's the thing here. Like, yeah, Daniel Jones has not been very good, but he got himself to a $40 million contract. Deserve it or not, he got himself that far. Guys like Johnny Manziel, they didn't even get that far. And I know that's not the best example, but there's been other guys in the league that have done that. So he at least has gotten that somehow, some way. Jaden Daniels hasn't played a snap yet. We got to be realistic. Then running backs. So Saquon Barkley is now the Eagles, not the Giants. The Giants have Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson Jr., and me, I think. I don't know. No, so we're going to go with the Eagles are definitely winning that one. I'm going to go Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler too as well. But then the Giants again, and then the Cowboys. Cowboys, yikes. Zeke, oh. Yeah, we'll keep it this way. Tight ends. Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller / Daniel Bellinger when healthy and whoever. And then I think Zach Ertz is the new Commanders tight end, I believe, right? Yeah, he is. They also have Ben Sano, the rookie. So personally, I think Dallas Goedert's really good. Then you have, I like Zach Ertz. I mean, just a hair bit better than Jake Ferguson. He's just been doing it longer, so I'll give him that credit. And then Darren Waller, when he's healthy, is pretty good, but he's just never healthy, so you're going to have to put him in last. Wide receiver room. So, we're talking about the top 2 to 3 guys here. You've got Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. They have Luke McCaffrey listed as third on the depth chart, but probably Diami Brown is the next guy. Dallas has CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert. Then the Giants have Neighbors, they just drafted, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. And the Eagles have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Devontae Parker. We're going to go with the Eagles first. And the Cowboys, I love CeeDee Lamb and all. I'm a big Oklahoma fan. Anytime anybody comes from Oklahoma, I like their players a lot for really no reason other than they came from Oklahoma, except for Marquise Brown. Don't know why. Just don't really like him. But, between them and, honestly, that's really close between the Commanders and the Cowboys because you have CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin. Yes, CeeDee Lamb does win. But Brandon Cooks, Jaden Tolbert, I think I might rather have Jahan Dotson, Diami Brown, Luke McCaffrey, whoever. I think I might rather have that. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and then the close third is the Commanders, then the Giants. It's not a debate. The Giants are last. O-line groups. So you have the Eagles probably win this strictly off their tackles alone. Mailata and then Lane Johnson are really good. Landon Dickerson's a really good guard. The Cowboys lost a lot of starters. They do have Terrence Steele, Tyler Smith, and Zach Martin still, but a little bit rough around the edges. The Giants on paper looks relatively decent, but it's just not great. And same with the Commanders. I mean, Nick Allegretti had a really good season with the Chiefs last year. Tyler Biadasz has been a good center for the Cowboys. Andrew Wiley's a solid tackle. Sam Cosby's a really good guard. I'm probably going to have to go with Cowboys, Giants, Commanders. The Commanders are just not, Sam Cosby's really good when he gets the chance to play. I mean, they also have Ricky Stromberg, who I like a lot, but I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I think I'm going to have to pick this one. Eagles are dominating this so far. D-line. Starting off with the Commanders, this is including edge rushers, right? So, they have Dante Fowler, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Dorrance Armstrong, and Jerzon Newton. That's really solid. The interior is better than the exterior, but either way. The Cowboys, DeMarcus Lawrence, Chauncey Golston, Osa Odigizua, Micah Parsons. They just drafted Marshawn Nealon. Last year they got Mozzie Smith. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, really the only relevant guys on the Giants. And then the Eagles, Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. Oof, that's a tough one, man. I think I'm going to give this one to the Cowboys. Then the Eagles are a close second. And then the Commanders, because they have a lot of good interior guys. And then the Giants. I think that's just what's going to be. Linebackers now. Linebackers for the Eagles, obviously, they bring in Devin White this year. That's a big one. And Nakobe Dean, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. That's a really solid group there. Eric Kendricks, Maurice Lefau, I don't know, from the Cowboys. Then the Commanders have Wagner, Jamin Davis. That's a solid group on paper, but we'll see. And then Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Isaiah Simmons. That's a solid group as well. I'm going to go, honestly, the Giants probably have the best one here. Then the Eagles. Then I like the Commanders, then the Cowboys. They're really solid group of linebackers everywhere. It's just somebody has to be last, right? Cornerback rooms, I really like what the Eagles have done this year, man. The Eagles, I'm not even an Eagles fan, but their roster development is just great. Obviously, you have Darius Slay, you get Quinion Mitchell, you have James Bradbury, who isn't the guy he once was, but I think as a CB3, CB4, he'll be fine. You have Cooper DeJean, you have Zach McPherson, Avonte Maddox. That's such a deep group. They're going to win this one pretty quickly. The Cowboys have a solid group as well. I mean, obviously you have Trayvon Diggs when he's healthy, Deron Bland, who is good but overrated. Not as good as a lot of people think he is just because he got a bunch of pick sixes, but he got toasted on a lot of other plays, but we just refuse to acknowledge that. But either way, still a good player, just not quite as good as people think. Then they might be two, but let's double check. Well, I see Cordell Flott starting in New York, so they're definitely two at this point. And then, yeah, they're two. They're not. It's not close. It's these two. And then, yeah, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Forbes and Ben St. Juste over the Giants, guys. So now with the head coaches, you have Sirianni, you have Brian Daboll, you have Mike McCarthy, and you have Dan Quinn. I like Sirianni fine. I think he's a decent coach. I don't think he's as bad of a coach as a lot of people think. I think they just had a rough year last year. It's hard to, have really good years back-to-back seasons. It just is. And they still won like 11 games. What are we talking about? Dan Quinn wasn't the best head coach when he was. He got to a Super Bowl, but that was, I don't know. Maybe he's a fine head coach. I like the idea of Brian Daboll as a head coach, but at the same time, he hasn't proven anything. And over time, Mike McCarthy's done stuff, then Dan Quinn, then Daboll. I really think Daboll could be better. It's just he hasn't had the chance to do anything to prove himself in that situation. So that is our NFC East tier. In the NFC South, so starting with our quarterbacks, we've got Kirk Cousins now. We've got Derek Carr, we've got Bryce Young, we've got Baker Mayfield. So, in my opinion, let's assume they're all healthy because Kirk Cousins was really good last year before he got hurt. We're going to go Kirk is first. Then a very close second is Baker Mayfield. Then third is Derek Carr. Fourth is Bryce Young. He hasn't done anything. You can't really say he's better than anybody here at all. Running back now. You've got Rachaad White, who I'm not a big fan of. If you've been around my channel, you know that one. Bijan Robinson, go ahead and slot him number one. I don't know who you want to call the starter in Carolina. Their current listed starter is Chuba Hubbard. They have a really good room, though, in terms of, name value. But I think Alvin Kamara still probably got the heads up for now, though probably not for long. Jonathan Brooks, I like what he's doing. Rachaad White will be last. O-line groups. I do really like what the Panthers have been doing. They might be number one, but we're going to wait and see. So for now, they're going to stay there, but Falcons are going to run for their money. Falcons are better. They are just a little bit better. They have Jake Matthews, Caleb McGarry, both two really good tackles. Chris Lindstrom, one of the best guards in the league. Matthew Bergeron, a really good rookie last year. And then Drew Dahlman's a solid center. The Bucks, who is even on their line anymore? They obviously have Tristan Wirfs. Graham Barton they bring in this year. They're solid, but they're spots that they need fixing. They'll definitely beat the Saints out, though. I think the Saints are in a really rough spot with their O-line. Wide receiver rooms. Yeah, no one touches the Bucks here. Then the Panthers now have a really solid group at least. I mean, they get Deontay Johnson in, and Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette. That's a solid group. Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall even. The Falcons have Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Rondale Moore. The Saints have Chris Olave, and is that about it? Yep, pretty much. Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Wilson. Not great. So, I think to me, we're going to go with Deontay Johnson's group in Carolina. Close will be the Falcons and then the Saints. I like Olave, but the rest of the group's not very good. Tight ends. Jawan Johnson is the Saints starter. Kyle Pitts is the Falcons starter. Tommy Tremble is currently listed as the Panther starter, but they probably move to Jatavian Sanders soon. And then Cade Otton. So not a good group of tight ends at all, really. Wow. That isn't shocking. Pitts somehow is the best tight end here. And he's been, his career's been off to a shaky start because of schematics and the way the coaches don't use him, but still, he hasn't done anything to be very good, yet he's still the best one in this division somehow. Let's see. Cade Otton's fine. I think he's at least done enough to get himself there. Then Jawan Jordan. And then, for the Panthers, just Jatavian Sanders hasn't played, and Tommy Tremble's not really done much himself either. So it's got to be what it is. Cornerback and safety groups. J.C. Horn is a really good one in Carolina. They have Xavier Woods, Jordan Fuller. Let's see. Saints, they have a good CB room for sure. They got Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid McKinstry. They might win this one. They might. Safeties are still pretty good too. Jordan Howden, Tyrann Mathieu. Falcons, they do have Jesse Bates, who's really good. AJ Terrell, Clark Phillips. Mike Hughes is decent. They kind of up there. I'm gonna put them at 2 though. Yeah, I'm gonna put them at 2. I think that's fair. I think there's a little bit more depth in New Orleans. Then Carolina has got them. Tampa Bay, they just had to trade one of their guys to Detroit. They currently have, Carolina's going to win that one. Zion McCollum is starting. I like Zion McCollum. I'm a truther for him. I think he'll be good eventually. It's just not there yet. We got to see him play more. D-line. Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea, Logan Hall. Yaya Diaby had a good rookie year last year. That's a good group in Tampa Bay. Nathan Shepard, Kalen Saunders, Carl Granderson, Cameron Jordan. They're fine. Chase Young, too. They're fine. Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett, Arnold Ebiketie. Rukaroro now, he's there. And then in Carolina, Ashawn Robinson, Shai Tuttle, Derek Brown, DJ Wanham. Strange group. I think Tampa's going to win this one. Then we'll go to... I'll have to compare here a little bit more. I think I'm going to go to New Orleans next, and then very, very close third is Atlanta, then Carolina. I like Derek Brown, but that's about all they have. Linebackers now. Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis in Atlanta. Josie Jewell and Shaq Thompson in Carolina. Demario Davis, Pete Werner are still really good in New Orleans. And then Levante David, KJ Britt. I'm going to go the Saints win this one. I do like the Panthers group. They got Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell. I'm going to give them the next heads up. Then I'm going to go Levante David and this Falcons group. So head coaches. Raheem Morris, new coach. What's his name? Todd Bowles. Dave Canal is a new coach. Saints is Dennis Allen. Terrible group of coaches, to be honest with you. Todd Bowles gets the W. Dennis Allen. These two guys have never been coaches, or recently at least. Dave Canales has never been. Raheem Morris has been, and he was not a good coach when he was last a coach. So I'm not going to hold that to him too hard, but Dave Canales being a young gun, I'll give him that and just, let him, prove himself bad before he's good. We've already seen Raheem Morris kind of prove himself bad once or twice, so that's kind of where I'm at with them. Now in our final division, we have the NFC West. So, quarterbacks. Obviously, you have Purdy, Stafford, Geno, and Kyler. I'm going to go Stafford's 1. I think he does more on his own than Purdy does, for sure. Then Kyler, and then Geno. I'm not a big fan of Geno. He's fine. He's a serviceable starter, but he's a guy you're going to look to replace sooner rather than later. We're not going to even start by saying anybody but CMC as RB1 in this division. It's just not close. Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, and James Conner. Kyron Williams and Kenneth Walker are very close. Like, very close. I want to see one thing real quick. Kenneth Walker seems to, like, not always be the most healthy guy a little bit. But I'm going to give the heads up to Kyron Williams. Kenneth Walker will be third. Very close, very close. James Conner, not even a bad back, just has to be fourth. O-line, that's a tough one as well. I like the tackles in Seattle. I do. Rob Havenstein, Alaric Jackson, Jonah Jackson, Kevin Dotson, Steve Avila. That's a really solid group in LA. They might be one. Seattle, I'm trying to think. They have the two good tackles, Abe Lucas and Charles Cross. Their interior is just not great. The Niners obviously have Trent Williams, but the rest of it's iffy. Aaron Banks is okay. Brendel is fine. McKivitz is tolerable. And then the Cardinals, Paris Johnson, Froholt, Jonah Williams, Will Hernandez. Really a lot of tied back there. I'm going to go Seattle, the Niners, and then the Cardinals. Just kind of how it is. None of them are great. They're all fine. That's about it. Wide receivers. They're a really interesting group of wide receivers in this class. I think the Niners are going to run away with it, though. Ayuk, Debo, Pearsall, whoever else. Then the Rams are close with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But they lack a 3, don't they? Who is their current 3? Demarcus Robinson? Yeah, I'm not sure. And then I'll go with the Seahawks. I think overall Puka and Cooper Kupp are better than the 1-2 of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, so I'll give them that. And then the Cardinals. Once again, not a bad receiver group in Arizona. Just they have to be last. Now, tight ends. Kittle is going to be quickly number 1. Higbee, Fant. Is it still Fant? Yeah, it's still Fant. And the Cardinals is McBride. I like McBride a lot. Higbee's done it for a long time, been really good. And then Fant, he's an average tight end. He's fine. Cornerbacks and safety groups. Arizona, who do they have? They have Garrett Williams, who I really do like. Sean Murphy-Bunting's there this year. Now Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson are their safeties. Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love, Rayshawn Jenkins in Seattle. That's a solid group. Safeties, not so much, though. Then I'm about to say the LA Lakers. The LA Rams, Trey White, Darius Williams, Cam Curl, Quentin Lake. That's a solid group right there, man. I like that one a little bit. Niners have, they obviously have Travarius Ward, Demidor Lenore, Hufanga, and Brown. I do like the safeties there. I feel like they have much better safeties than everyone else, plus the corners. Then we're going to go with LA, then Seattle, because I don't like Seattle safeties as much as I like LA's. They're very close, though. Obviously, Woolen and Witherspoon are very good, and they're right on their tail. And then Arizona, once again, they're just getting the brunt end of the stick here. D-lines, Niners obviously have Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins. Then Seahawks have Mafe, Jones, Reed, and Williams. Rams, Fisk, Brown, Turner, Young, Verse. Young group of guys there. And Arizona, Blau Nichols, Jones, Ojulari, Zaven Collins, LJ Collier. So the Niners are running away with this one, that's for sure. And then I'll hesitantly go with Seattle because their edge rushers are not very good. Boye Mafe is just a prospect still. Then I'll go with the young group that is LA. Very upside heavy, but very young. And then the Cardinals, once again, they're just getting terrible ends of this. Off-ball linebackers, Kaiser White and Mac Wilson in Arizona. Ernest Jones, Christian Roseboom in LA. Then you have Jerome Baker, Tyrell Dotson in Seattle. And Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are going to run away with that one. I do think Jerome Baker and that group in Seattle wins this one. I think in the last video, I thought Jerome Baker was still in Miami. I think I mixed that one up. Either way, I'm trying to think. Ernest Jones is really solid. They're going to get 3, and then the Cardinals get 4 once again. So now head coaches, we have Shanahan, Gannon, McVay, and now it's McDonald. So we're going to go, I like McVay over Shanahan, though both are very, very, very good. Then we're going to go Gannon and then McDonald, just because McDonald's never been a coach before. Gannon had a solid first year considering what he had to work with. That is going to do it for ranking divisional positions, ranking divisions by position. Okay, that makes it work. Either way, what do you guys think down in the comments? Let me know who you think should be higher or lower. And also, let me know if you have any video ideas coming up for the summer. We are in a dead point, and you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm running out of ideas myself. So if you have a request for a video, leave it in the comments, and I will make sure to do it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.